Hey everyone, welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. Today we're covering law number 12 of the Leadership Laws, the Law of Empowerment. I am Bess McCarty, coach for network marketers, also called the shrink of MLM. And I partner with Jeffrey David Gamble to bring these lunchtime shows to you Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Time, where we cover one of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership by John Maxwell from this book. And it's the number one leadership book in the world by the number one leadership expert in the world. Very important to business, since everything rises and falls on leadership, and including network marketing. Very, very, very valuable. We figured this is the most valuable thing that we could bring you. And our goal is to help people grow, to educate, equip, and empower entrepreneurs and create independent servant leaders. That's why we bring you this show. It's actually a show sponsored by it's a generic show, of course, sponsored by our generic school, the MLM Millionaire Academy School for Network Marketers. And so I wanted to let you know, of course, if you're watching the replay, please type in replay because we'd like to thank you for that. And if you would like a free copy of this ebook, then just go to our Facebook group, the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group, and request membership there, and you can request the free ebook, and you can scroll down and find all the replays and all that stuff. So let's invite a few people to this show today. Inviting Jeff, Shamala, David Roeder, Brandy, Nancy, and Jerry, Teresa, Becky, Tom, David, and Sherry, Benny. So it's starting to warm up a little bit here in Kansas, but what's the weather like where you guys are? Is it real cold yet? Yeah, cold, sunny. Changes here. Now, why the law of empowerment? That's real important. Why is that important? Because a true leader, really, only a secure leader, is strong enough to empower other people. And why is that important? Because it's not about us. Because it's about the people that we lead, or else you wouldn't be a leader. You'd be a loner if it was about you. If it was about that leader, then that by definition they wouldn't be a leader. So it needs to be about the people and the people that follow. And I'm going to give some cool tips today about that. Just finishing inviting a few people: Leilani and Jim and Steve and Kindness and Mel and Thomas and Andres, Kara, Lloyd, Janice, Sean. So glad everybody's on. I welcome you. If you know people who can get value, love if you comment, share, tag people. So, okay, it's probably good for now. And welcome, Brittany. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so who wants to be a better leader in your life, in your business, in your community, in your family? Please type in yes below, because you're in the right place. And hey, David Roeder, one of our stars in the MLM Millionaire Academy. He's being a presentation monster right now, and as a result, getting customers and distributors. Might want to follow David. He always has cool posts too. Really thoughtful and meaningful and deep posts and thoughts. So, welcome, Fred. Glad to see you. So, these are really cool tips, you guys, about how to empower other people. So only a secure leader. I'm gonna read you some really, really cool things and quotes by John Maxwell today. That only a secure leader gives power to others. And that means that we help people to reach their potential, which of course I do as a coach. We help people to reach their potential by building them up, giving them resources, giving them authority and responsibility and autonomy. Think of yourself as like a parent or a teacher. We believe in people until they can borrow our belief till they can believe in themselves. We see the best in them until they can then catch that, being contagious, and see the best in themselves too. And as network marketers that I've coached, a lot of successful network marketers, they tell me that it is much more rewarding to see your people get on stage than for you to get on stage. They go, being on stage, that's incredible. Yeah. But then when you see your team get on stage, your heart just bursts. Just like being a parent, I think, yeah, it's cool to achieve things for yourself, but when you then can help your child, you see them achieve things for themselves, it's just, beyond words. Like, I feel like I've raised my son, as an example from a parent, I've raised my son the best way that I know. Looking back, I say, I would have done this or that different. But at that time, generally, it was with love, and it was generally good. So I did the best I could for sure at that time. Now he has his own child, and seeing him love his own child, and my sister said, well, where do you think he got that from? And I think, wow, if my love for him could help him to experience his love for his child, that makes it, a million times even better or more special. And it's that way. when you see your team get on stage, when you've mentored somebody who then makes it, it's so much cooler. Now, there can be blocks to that. And welcome, Jenna. Welcome, everybody. So there can be blocks to that. What could stop us from having that cool experience of seeing someone that we've helped or mentored to become powerful in their own right? Well, the human part of us can stop us, like the fear of being replaced as a business leader, that now the light will be on them and not on me, right? Or people will now listen to them instead of me because the light is shining on them. Welcome, Shamala. Glad to see you. Thank you for being here, everybody. Another fear is that we resist change. As humans, a lot of times we do resist change because we want to be in control. We want to have things easier the way it was, not learn a new thing. As someone said the other day, gosh, I just feel tired having to learn a new thing, or having to adjust to change. Well, we like to be in control and not, when somebody's powerful around us, then we're not controlling them. We're not in control. We can't control them, right? So that would be an example why what human part of us can resist empowering others. And then another is a lack of self-worth. When we think, well, now I'm not as good as I was when people were looking to me, or I'm not as good as that other person. So it can, what that might do is demean ourselves or others. So these things can be healed. These things can be changed. That's what I do as a therapist, actually. And hello, everyone, Shamala says. All right, welcome. And if you know someone who could benefit from this, being a better leader, leadership tips, this free show where you can get food for thought and grow for lunch. I love it when you comment or tag people in the comments. So, some cool things I wanted to share with you about empowerment. First, a quick little example of it. You might have heard the story that I have told a couple times. You may have heard it elsewhere, about the handicapped, the race for handicapped children. They were running along, and one person was in the lead and happened to look back and see another handicapped child stumble and fall. The person who would have won, if he would have kept running, he would have won the race, but he stopped what he was doing. He went back and he helped that child to get up and assisted them across the finish line. Not first, of course, but lost his place, but won in another very important way. Stopped to help another person, to empower another person. Come on, you can get up, you can make it across that finish line. And I just love that. Would I have done that? If I was in a race, would I have done that? Or if I was handicapped? Maybe handicapped people have even bigger hearts than us. I don't know. I think I've seen that a lot, where that comes first. So that is an example to me. On my way to success, if someone needs help, am I going to stop and help them? Because what am I on the way to success for? But to help people, right? As a coach, or if I was a network marketer yet, and I was a full-time network marketer for years, helped me raise my son as a single mom, but right now I'm a dedicated generic coach for network marketers. But if I was in a company, or even in my coaching business, if I'm approaching success, gaining a momentum, if someone stops and needs help, whether it's a family member or somebody that I'm coaching needs extra help, and it means sacrificing some other success, would I do it? Good question. for each of us, perhaps. So John Maxwell says, I'm going to share with you some really cool tips and quotes that he has from people from this book called John Maxwell's book, Becoming a Person of Influence. He has a whole chapter in here on empowering people. A person of influence empowers other people. So he says, okay, this is what you have to do to become an empowerer. He says, now, by the way, everyone has the potential to become an empowerer, but you cannot empower everyone. This only works if you're in that position. He gives 4 things. But number 1 is that position. You're in a position of power. So sometimes you can encourage and motivate everybody you meet, he says, but not always are you in a position of power to where you can lead them, to where you can empower them. Like when I visited my son and his family, it's their family now. It's their way to raise the kids. It's not my business anymore. You know, I can support, encourage, and all that, but it's there. I need to step back and respect. It's there. I don't have power over that. I can support, be an encouraging sideline person, but it's their show now. It's their job. So my son is no longer young. He's not someone that I have power over anymore, right? He's his own adult in his own right. And so welcome, David Peters. Glad to see you. David Peters, another really cool person to follow. Always posts really deep and thoughtful things, videos. You may want to follow him as well. And Shamala too. These are all really some of our best friends, and some of you are students in the MLM Millionaire Academy, our generic school for network marketers, and that's how we got to know you better. So, okay, number 2, requirements, qualifications of an empower is relationships, and so you must have a relationship with them. Thomas Carlyle says, "A great man shares his greatness by the way he treats the little men." Although I don't know if there are any little men, or treats other men, let me say, or people that maybe, are not above you in status. It's said that relationships are forged, not formed. In other words, they require our conscious attention. They require time and common experience that we have with people. That's really what bonds people, isn't it? And it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said every man or woman is entitled to be valued by his or her best moments, not our worst. And so we can look for that best in others and bring that and build on that. Hey, James, how are ya? James Billinger, an awesome person, a person who is taking steps in his life, taking active steps in his life. And congratulations, James, for all that you're doing. I'm real admiring of you. So glad you're on here. Okay, so a third qualification that needs to be in place before you empower people is respect. Because respect causes people to want to be empowered by you. In other words, you have faith in them, faith in self and faith in others. And of course, respect for others depends on how much we respect ourselves and esteem ourselves. But if you wish others to respect you, you must show respect for them, which I think it means acknowledging their human value and their worth, which we all have. Okay, the fourth qualification is commitment. He says U.S. Air Executive Ed McElroy stressed that commitment gives us new power. No matter what comes to us, sickness, illness, poverty, disaster, we never turn our eyes from the goal. And that's what keeps us going through the bumps and the sidetracks and everything. Life is never easy. Going for a goal and getting out of our comfort zone is never easy. But it's worth it. It's worth it, you guys. Here are some questions to ask ourselves. If you want to empower other people, you want to become an empowerer and a good leader, which John Maxwell says you need all the 21 laws. To become a good leader, you need all the 21 laws of leadership. They're all important. You couldn't eliminate any. You need them all. You need to understand them all. So one of them today we're focus just on one a day, is empowering. How can you empower somebody today? And that means to build them up, edify them, give them resources that they might benefit from, see their best in them, help them to become autonomous and not need you. How can we do that today? Whether it's with our child, somebody that we work with, somebody on our network marketing team. But here's some questions to ask yourself before you get started doing that. Can you pass these tests? So listen carefully. There are 10 of them. Okay. Questions to ask before you get started by John Maxwell, reading out of this book, Becoming a Person of Influence, on the chapter on empowering people. Okay, questions to ask. Do I believe in people and feel they are my organization's most appreciable asset? In other words, do I believe in people? Number 2, do I believe that empowering others can accomplish more than individual achievement? In other words, the team that I lead can accomplish more than if I just work by myself, or any individual works by themselves. There's power in a team. Do I believe that? Or am I kind of alone, or I'm going to do it myself, or take credit myself? Number 3, do I actively search for potential leaders to empower? Do you look out for people? If you're a network marketer, do you look out for people on your team who are there, who show up, who have committed, who are grateful, who are coachable, who have goals and have a why, and want to move forward and want to learn? Okay, those are the people I want to look for to empower. Number 4, would I be willing to raise others to a level higher than my own level of leadership? Connect them with John Maxwell and other people. You can only lead them as far as your own lid, but would I be willing to help them excel and exceed and pass me? And you can do that by connecting them with, John Maxwell's books and trainings, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, helping them to become an even better leader than you. Would you be willing to do that? That's a good test, huh? Kind of an acid test of a true leader. Okay, number 5, would I be willing to invest time developing people who have leadership potential? Would it be worth my time? Maybe you get paid for it, maybe you don't. Network marketing, you often do. But what if you don't? Would I be willing to invest my time just for the sake of helping them to grow and become better people and better leaders? So welcome, Mr. Jim Bailey, another person in our school, another star front row student and leader in our school, the MLM Millionaire Academy, Jim Bailey. Another person, cool person to follow. Okay, number 6. Would I be willing? This is questions that you ask, Jim. This is what we're going to. Questions you ask before you get started empowering people. So number 6, would I be willing to let others get credit for what I taught them? And not say, hey, where did you get that? Remember who taught you that? Remember where that came from? Remember where your success comes from? If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have your success. No, we just let others be. When am I willing to let others take credit for what they've achieved or what they accomplished, even if I taught it to them? Let others take credit. That's another good acid test. And so, welcome, Candy. Glad to have you. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate likes and loves. And if you want to be a good leader, a better leader than you are, please type in yes, because you're here to take a step today. If you take one step today and get one thing out of this and put it into action, then it's a good day, then a successful day. Then I'll know that I've accomplished what I wanted to here on this class. Okay, number 7, questions to ask before you get started empowering people. Do I allow others freedom of personality and process, or do I have to be in control? And that would be like a safe place. Thank you for likes and loves. I appreciate that. That would be like a safe place. Like I read a quote the other day about, let me be a place where others can feel safe and accepted. Do I provide that for them? Safe to be themselves, or do I want them to be a certain way? Of course, that won't last long. Nobody's going to stick around somebody like that or want to be led by somebody like that, are they? Nope. So thank you, Fred, for joining in. Yes, he says yes with a big exclamation mark and a heart. Awesome. And yes, yes, yes. Put it into action, Jim says. That's an important thing. Absolutely. Okay, number 8 question to ask yourself before you get started. Would I be willing to publicly give my authority and influence to potential leaders? To publicly turn over. I know a lady who's been in network marketing, Denny Robinson, I believe. She was interviewed by Eric Worre, and she tells a story that after years of leading, regular opportunity night meetings in her local area, other people lead it. Other people on her team lead these meetings, and she just sits in the back. and lets it happen, lets it occur, lets it happen. And she is so unknown there, so unknown, the spotlight's so not on her, that there was a lady, she sat in the very back row, and there was a lady sitting in front of her. And she turned around to Denny, who started all this and created all this years ago. She turned around to Denny and said, "I've seen you here a few times. Are you interested in this opportunity?" So that's cool. She sits in the back, lets it happen on her own, gets no credit. Publicly give authority and influence over to someone else. Number 9, would I be willing to let others work me out of a job, just like Denny did? I love that story. And number 10, would I be willing to hand the leadership baton to people I empower and truly root for them, like she did? So I think that's a good example. Let them, and of course I do that with my son. I've already raised him the best I could. Now it's his turn to raise his child in his own way, and it's not mine. I'm just as a supporting person there, but it's his show, and the baton has been passed by him growing up, just by him becoming an adult, and I'll tell you, it's so cool. It's so cool to see that and be a grandma and support them to grow and be all that they can be, all the different stages they're going to go through with their child, from infancy, toddler, and school age, and teenage, and adulthood, and then becoming grandparents themselves. That's the coolest thing to go through the stages. So whatever stage the person that you are empowering is on, just help them to just the next step, and embrace the step that they're on. Don't overwhelm them with too much down the road, but just help them to their next step, and appreciate how precious it is. Whether they're beginning network marketers, and they're just talking to their first person for the first time, whether they've just gotten their first recruit and they're training that person, whether they're getting to their first meeting or convention, whether they're bringing a person for the first time to a meeting. Acknowledge each step is just as important as way down the road, when their team is huge. But each step that they're on is precious, because it carries a different lesson about life and a different knowledge of themselves as people. So we celebrate each of the steps that they're on. Now, I'm going to read you straight from John. He says, if you answer no to more than a couple of these questions, you may need an attitude adjustment. You need to believe in others enough to give them all you can, and in yourself enough to know that it won't hurt you. Just remember that as long as you continue to grow and develop yourself, you'll always have something to give, and you won't need to worry about being displaced. So he does say that in another law. Keep doing your personal growth. Keep evolving and developing yourself as a leader, and you will always have something to give. It's when you stop that you need to worry about that. So to complete this, to apply this law of leadership, assess your self-worth and security, and add value and worth to yourself, like we were talking about. Do your own personal growth work every day. Seek to become a better person every day. Read, listen to teachers like John Maxwell. Come to these shows every day. Come to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern time here, or watch the replays. Okay, number 2, to apply this law. Grow your belief in people, and to use their gifts and opportunities that are around them. And then number 3, give power. Set up your best people for success, and pass on that baton. So does this help today? And Jim says, service to be. Yep, it's all about service, but includes ourselves, right? We grow too. And then we give this power to others. So did anybody get a tip today? Anybody get a takeaway? I'd love to hear that. What is meaningful? Because that helps me to know what means, what you value. And that's what I want to bring more of to these shows. So love to hear a tip. If you're watching the replay, love to hear that. If you have a question, anybody have a question or a tip that you can give the whole group. Let's keep this going even after the show ends, because other people really do read the comments, you guys. So when you summarize a takeaway, other people get benefit from that. But every time we tell a takeaway, we sink it in deeper to ourselves, don't we? So give a takeaway, read what other people wrote, let it sink in. See how you can empower somebody today. That's my challenge for you. See how you can Believe in somebody. Help them to find their own autonomy. Raise them up. Give them resources that can help them on their journey and on their way. See if you can find someone to do that today. And then check those 10 questions. Am I willing to stop and help? Let somebody surpass me. Let them be in the limelight. Let them take credit. That's really cool. Check my willingness to do that. I'd love to hear any stories. You guys have a story and experience by doing this today? I'd love for you to come back and drop that in the comments, because I like to read that and see what happened for you to use this today. Okay, that's my challenge for you. And let's see, today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and Jeff will be back tomorrow because we're alternating for now. We used to do dual Facebook Lives until that changed. We're still seeing if we can again. But tomorrow, Jeff will be back with the law of the picture, law number 13, John Maxwell's leadership law. So we'll see you guys then. Remember, you can get a free copy of the free ebook over at the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. Be glad to send that to you. And thank you for joining in. Thank you for all you do for people. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.